Welcome back to the community, everybody, and thank you all for being part of it. You can see scrolling up the screen, the website, and if you would like to purchase a t-shirt or stickers or make a donation to help out to keep the channel going, please feel free to go there. It's safe and secure. Something I'm doing with the website, and this is really important. I think it's going to help a lot of folks out. I've got about another week to go, and that'll be about it. It took longer than I thought. I'm making an index up on the website, and it's mobile friendly. So if you're in your garage and you need to look up something, how to do this, how to do that, you'll be able to pick up your phone, go to sladesvw.com, maybe keep it bookmarked, and there will be an index there. I think it'll be easier than using the playlist on YouTube, where you'll be able to go to ignition, suspension, braking, motor, just click it, and you'll be able to check the videos there. Much quicker and easier to help you out, because that's what this is all about. All right, what we are doing today is checking the fuel line inside the tunnel. Now, if you remember a video I did not too long ago, I was showing you how to clean out your factory fuel line that runs through the tunnel. And that is important. You want to make sure it's cleaned out and clean. You don't want a bunch of rust or anything going into your carburetor or carburetors. But the point I'm making is, how do you know if it leaks or not? Okay. Yeah, you could fill it full of brake clean, carb cleaner, things of that nature, and try to look inside and see if it's dripping. That's not very easy to do, to get your head in that hole and try to see it. So I have a different way, which is relatively very easy to do, and it's not hard to do. So I'm going to show you that now. Let's get on it. So you're going to need access to your fuel line in the back and in the front. Now, if you're dealing with this situation of curiosity about your fuel line leaking, that means you're on a project. You got to ignore the wood here, because that won't be off the floor till tomorrow. And I'll show you momentarily why that's all here. But I'll bring a gauge around here and I'll show you what I mean. This is a really good way to see if the fuel line's leaking. So we're going to go ahead and get everything hooked up. It's relatively inexpensive to do, but at least you'll know if you're safe and sound. And what I'm doing with this wood is my pallet walls. And I did a video on that before, because it's free to do. You just need a couple nails or screws, a little propane torch to give the wood a burnt look, and that's the outcome of it. I really like that. I just go to the stores that have pallets laying around, ask them if they want them, and they tell me, take them. And I think that's pretty cool. Now, of course, I have to finish all the way down there and then the other side of the garage. But hey, it's free and it looks good. So that's why I'm doing that. And I have to get that done before the following weekend, which is 7 days away, because I got some out-of-state guys coming to the club picnic. Wisconsin, Maryland, North Carolina, Kentucky, from all over the place, New York. They're coming here the next day after the club picnic, and we're going to hang out, take pictures, and have some fun. I got to get it done. That's why the wood's there. Okay, let's get on the video today. I apologize. I just like to always keep everybody up to date on what's going on who's more personal with this channel. All right, what we're going to need is a vacuum gauge. They're very cheap at Harbor Freight. You might get a kick out of this one. That's an old Sun Pro. Looks like Auto Supermarket, $17.99. I don't know how long ago this was purchased, but it was in my dad's garage. It sadly passed away. And I always try to keep a lot of the stuff that he used. That's made in Cleveland, Ohio. It's not made in China. So I thought that was cool. But we're going to be using that first. And you should have one of these anyhow. They're good for tuning your carburetor or carburetors, different things. But we're going to see if we got a leak using this. This will be easy. Come on. All right, first things first. Let's take our bungee cord off. Pop the trunk. Now, if you have to, you can get underneath, like you can see here. Now, if you don't want to pull your tank, though, like I said, you can come over, jack it up, safely secure it, take your wheel off, see in through the inner well. You can get up inside of there and crimp off your rubber hose, and there's your fuel line that goes through the tunnel right there. For filming purposes, I'm just pulling the tank out of the way so that I can get the camera in there. That's that nice new Holly tank I got. Now, this is your fuel line. I keep mine capped off so no dirt or anything gets in there. I may end up running a brand new fuel line. I'm just not sure yet what I want to do. But here's your fuel line at the front. And then, of course, I'll show you the one at the back momentarily. Now, that fuel line comes through the tunnel. And no, I didn't cut that. Somebody else did. I got to weld that shut. And it goes back. Now, there is really no way of getting in there and replacing it without cutting a couple big holes in the tunnel. So this is why we want to check it for leaks. We want to make sure it's clean. So what we're going to do first is open up our vacuum gauge. You can get one at Harbor Freight cheap. They're not expensive. I saved this stuff because, well, things were made a little different many years ago. I see he had a T-fitting on her, so he must have been doing something. Try to get that off there. There we go. Let's get everything hooked up. All right, so we're going to take our vacuum gauge, come around back. As you see, that right there is where your fuel line's coming out. Now let's go around the side of the car. I'm just showing you where we were. If you were to remove your rear wheel, there is your fuel line right there. So this is not as complicated as it seems, but at least you'll know if you have a fuel leak in the tunnel. I'm going to hook this gauge up, so I'll put the camera down here and show you what to do, and then we're going to go to the front. And within 10 minutes of wait time, which you're not going to sit that long, I'll edit the video, we'll know if we have a leak in that fuel line and if I should run one externally, because that's what I would do. Now what we're going to do here, I got to take my vacuum cap off of that line. We are going to hook a hose up. This is easy to do. You can do it, and it's not that expensive. Got to get this hose on here so it's tight, and it seems like it is. We're going to put this on. And I'll show you, just so you know where we're at. Okay, like I said, you can go through the wheel well and do that. But as you see, the vacuum line is hooked up. And of course, you can do it through removing the rear wheel and reaching in. Okay, so there is the vacuum line. I kind of just hung the gauge right there, so it's easy to see. Now we're going to go to the front. What I'm going to do at the front is put this on the fuel line. We're going to bring our hose over here. I'll show you what I mean. And let the test begin. We're going to know real quick if we need to replace that fuel line. I got to get my air hose set up. But I had it over there already. Wasn't paying attention. Now, if in fact you don't have a compressor, you don't need a big one. You can always get a little wee pancake compressor. You should have one in your garage. They're really handy to have for blowing up tires, things of that nature, blowing stuff off. So now on your compressor, now here's a warning. Turn your compressor down to like 20 pounds. Even if it's a pancake little compressor, I'm going to tell you how to do it without a compressor. But you don't want to blow out that gauge you just bought from Amazon or Harbor Freight or wherever. So keep the pressure low while you're doing this. Okay, we are at the front of the car. If you wonder what that rag is, I'm covering up a new master cylinder that I have there. I don't want nothing on it. We are going to take and put our hose on the fuel line. Hold on to it a minute. Try the other end a little bigger. There we go. Now you want to make sure it seals. You don't want a false reading of it leaking off. I don't want to replace this fuel line, trust me, but if I have to, I will. Okay. We are going to we are going to put our hose in here. And I'm going to have to put a little air in because I can't see in the back at the same time. Because once I pump it full, say 15 or 20 pound, I'm going to crimp this off and we're going to watch something. So let me give it a little air. I'm going to go around back and look. All right. Now, as you can see, we are 25 to 627. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to crimp that line off. We do it right here. Use a better pair of crimps. I just have some side angled vice grips. Now that's going to seal the air off from escaping on this end. So I will say something while I'm waiting, and I'm going to look at the clock. It's 10:20. We'll wait till 10:30 a.m. I guess you knew that because it's light out. You can use canned air if you need to. Okay. I know not everybody has a compressor. I went for years without one. And then I had a little one, then I went bigger, you know. But you can use canned air because if you think about it, the fuel line is very small. It might be 6 feet long, but it is a small line. You could tell when I squeezed my trigger, it immediately filled up with air, and I only got it at like 27, 28 pounds. So you can use compressed air in a can. You can go to Walmart or somewhere and get it in their computer section or electronics section, and you can pump it full of air that way. So I just wanted to tell you so you don't have to run out and buy a compressor to do this. So let's speed up the film. I'll be back in a second. Now I waited 10 minutes. I don't know if that's a mandatory time. I kind of made it up in my head. Just wait at least 10 minutes. Let it hold pressure. The longer, the better. You know what I mean? But you don't have to wait for like 3 days. You can go ahead and give it about 10 minutes. Let's take a look at the gauge. All righty. We are at 27.5. The gauge never moved. Now remember, if yours does move a little for any reason, make sure you don't have leaks. It's not hard to check it. You can either spray a little sudsy water around the fitting or spray some sudsy water around where you hook the port up and at the front also. And of course, all you got to do is pull your hose off. I felt the air pop out of there, so definitely was working. Then just remove your gauge out of the back. Now remember to hook your fuel lines back up and check for leaks, if in fact you're not at the stage I'm at where everything is apart. It's very important to take caution when you are playing around with fuel, but just don't be an idiot. Don't be stupid. Take your time when you're doing stuff on your car. Don't rush. Remember, safety is a big thing. The fuel line, I ran one on Gracie, the Super Beetle, because the line was kinked at one point. And I thought, well, that's not going to happen. I can't do that. Instead of cutting the tunnel open, Gracie's an Arizona car, and I really didn't want to be hacking it up. I actually met the guy who has it now. Sadly, third owner since I had it. One guy gapped the valves at 4 thousandths, which I told him not to do, and here it dropped a valve. But anyhow, I ran the fuel line down underneath past the heater channel where the factory bolts are for the belly pan, and I clamped it up inside of there, and that's perfectly fine to do, at least in my book. You do what you feel's right. But I may clean this line one more time off camera because I like to make sure it's really clean inside, but I think we're going to go ahead and leave this fuel line alone. I guess there's no point in changing it out. So I still have to start on the body work because I got behind with working on the garage itself. I'm going to do this section plus the driver's door first. And I did get what I needed with the clear coat. The clear coat I got was the Spray Max 2K, 2 and then K, 2 parts, because it has the catalyst that mixes with the clear. That's what we're going to do. I know a couple people that have done it and it turned out amazing and durable before one of you get smart. Okay, that's the way that I check. I pressurize the fuel line. I told you 2 different ways of doing it to see if you have a leak. Is it a surefire way? That wasn't a good way of putting it. I guess if you're pressurizing it and air can't get out, I doubt if liquid would. So that's my take on it. Do with you will. This is for entertainment purposes. If you do something stupid or silly, that's on you. Okay, I got to get back on the live chats. I used to do it every Sunday night, but it's been quite some time. I need to get back on that because everybody had a great time in there. It's a lot of fun. Okay, I hope everybody has a great, safe, healthy, and happy weekend. I'll see you soon.